There's really three dimensions to pacing. There's the velocity, there's the depth, and there is the pattern disruption element. The velocity one is pretty straightforward and people talk about it a lot. It's about using words and the combination of words in a way to create a sense of speed that's appropriate to the kind of chapter that you're writing or the kind of sequence that you're writing in a screenplay. So you're going to use more verbs if it's an action sequence versus more adjectives if it's a more reflective chapter that you're working on. You're going to use longer paragraphs and longer sentences if it's a more reflective chapter that you're working on. The second thing is about depth, and it's a little different. It's about how you use the description of your surroundings, of the character in the story and of the world in the story, in order to signal your reader whether they need to be thinking more profoundly about what's going on and taking a moment to absorb the possibilities that exist. And that has to do a lot with the use of things like literary devices, foreshadowing, pathetic fallacy, metaphor, symbolism, and so on, that will give depth and weight to your story or not. Sometimes a shaker of salt should just be a shaker of salt and shouldn't represent the fertility of your character or something, you know? And the third element is about pattern disruption. And the thing with humans is that we turn off our brains all the time when we are engaged with repetitive patterns or repetitive activities, because our brains can only take so much, and so we filter stuff. We sort through things, we throw out this, we keep that. And that's why you don't remember your trip home from work today or your trip home from school, because you've done it 1,000 times before. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to activate your conscious brain. And so you as a writer are always fighting with that in order to keep your reader engaged. And so you do that by using pattern so that people can settle in and move with the flow of the story and then disrupt that pattern. So this chapter is an action chapter, and you have a couple action chapters, and then you change it to a more reflective chapter. Explosion after explosion after explosion is just as boring and monotonous as long-winded, emotional, slow-moving chapters after chapters after chapter. It's the repetition that creates the boredom. It's not about the effect itself.